And I've got to ask this one from one of our biggest fans, Sean Patrick Higgins. He's one of our most active members. He is on the page every day, posting all kinds of great comments and helping us make Get Largemouth one of the best Facebook pages out there for fishing. And his question is basically asking about scents. So it's a long question, but I'm just going to kind of give you the general gist of it. And he's asking here. He was told by the pros about different scent products like garlic, crayfish oil, coffee, and even salt are all sales gimmicks. So basically, he's asking you, do you have any information on that? Like, do you think it actually works?
Well, most of the research that's been done on scent hasn't been done in the scientific community, through the American Fish Society. Most
Okay.
of it's been done through Berkeley and through, the tackle industry. However, what I've been able to glean from that is that, remember, bass do have an olfactory lobe, okay? So they do use scent to help them in their feeding, okay? And I have found that the spray or excuse me, the scent is worthwhile once again when I have difficult fish, meaning say fish that aren't holding on to the plastic very long, or fish that are where the water temperature is cold and they're lethargic. There's no doubt in my mind, in my own personal fishing experience, okay, and I think that the industry research, I'm almost sure it backs what I found, is that there are times when scent is critical. I'm going to tell your reader one story, okay?
Okay.
I was down on Lake Kissimmee, and it was 1982. I just moved into the area. I grew up in South Florida, so I never really knew much about Central Florida. And I was on Lake Kissimmee for my very first time bass fishing with a gentleman who took me out, okay? When we started, he picked up a can of Bang garlic and a salt and pepper crawl and said, "You're going to be begging me for one of these before this day's done." And I didn't know any better. I was just like, "Okay, I'm sure you're right," you know. But I was fishing with another biologist, and he had been fishing down there a while. He's like, "Yeah, I don't believe it." He goes, "Yeah, it's not." He was a very proud individual, to say the least. So we headed off in the fog, couldn't see anything. We headed down there and sat down at 27 Palms with some of your, what do we call them? Not listeners, not readers.
I would just
What do you
call them.
call?
I don't even. We have all kinds of name for them. I just call them fishing fans. I mean, we've been
Fishing
able to
fans.
aggregate the biggest, largest collection of passionate fishing fans. So that's all I call them is fishing fans.
All right, so you're fishing fans. Some of you that fish Kissimmee would know where 27 Palms is. And we pulled in there, and the bass were in a pre-spawn situation on the outside edge of the Kissimmee grass. However, the water temperature was 58 degrees. Now, up where you're at, that's no problem. Anywhere northern string largemouth has, that's usually not that big of a deal. But down here, that water temperature dips below 60. It becomes almost impossible to catch them on artificials. And I started, using my typical plastic baits. My friend, a fellow about the same. Meanwhile, Max was smoking them, and I mean smoking them. And I said, Max, I give. Uncle, I'll try your salt and pepper crawl, but I'm going to hold off on the scent here for a little bit. 3 or 4 fish later, I mean, him catching the fish and me not. I gave up, and then I started spraying my scent or my crawl down with scent, and I started catching fish and having a blast. The other biologist that was with me had been there for a while. He stayed stubborn right to the end. And I think he may have caught maybe one, maybe two bass, and we ended up catching 25 or 30.
Wow.
So there's a specific story. I can tell you hundreds of those stories where scent was a key factor in patterning the fish in cold weather down here in Florida. Now, anywhere else, I can't comment on it, but there's no doubt in my mind there's a time it is a waste of time and money. But there are times when those fish are lethargic or pressured or, that type of situation, or cold front, or excuse me, even a high pressure barometric system where they're not active, that scent can unlock, one more of their instinctive ways of going after food.
Right.
And I can tell you, I have it in my bag, and I use it when appropriate. Now, with that said, there are a lot of different scents that work. There are crawfish. I use crawfish oil and I use shad oil by Bang. Okay, but there are many, many others that work, including the anise oil, which is that licorice smell, or garlic, and I've never used coffee grounds, but I'm sure it would. Matter of fact, they found the research that they found is that the only scent that does not attract bass, that actually repels largemouth, is DEET, which is found in all your mosquito repellent. So that's something you can tell your people that, you know, I really would use a Thermacell or a bug jacket or just a thick raincoat. I try to use the last resort, you know, before I spray myself down. And if I do use mosquito repellent, I make sure I wash my hands in the water and then spray myself down with some of my garlic or shad oil or crawfish oil on my hands, because I can tell you, if I have DEET on my hands and I touch those plastics, I'm not getting bit.
Wow, you know what? That's incredible, Jim. That's really good to know, because, you know, as we always try up here in Canada when we're fishing to not use bug spray, because, you know, no one really likes to have that stuff on them. But up here in the springtime when we're out pike fishing, you know, in the early summer, black flies and mosquitoes can become pretty much unbearable at times. So we do obviously have to put bug spray on once in a while. But now I know that, I am sure that that's going to help me out. Now,